Okay, we are on and we are live. Welcome to a live Q&A with Chef Abbie Gellman that we are doing here during the quarantine so we can bring you some content. I am your operator today. I'll be reading the questions, but let's get to her now. Her name is Abbie, and here she is.
Hey, everybody! Thanks for joining today for quarantine cooking. I know all of us are at home, and we're probably tired of eating the same thing over and over again and have questions about what's good to eat, what's bad to eat, if there's even anything particularly bad to eat while we're stuck at home. Pointers, tips, tricks, all these good things. So I'm coming to you live today to answer some of the questions. So please feel free to send in your questions while we are live as well. And I will start answering as Terry feeds me your questions.
Okay, everybody. First one that came in is, which foods are my friends during the quarantine?
So, foods that are your best friends during the quarantine are fruits and vegetables. So, fresh, frozen, or canned, however you can get those veggies and fruits in is going to be great. So, aim for 7 servings a day if you can swing it. More than that is always great. So whether it's a cup of spinach or leafy greens with a half a cup of carrots or an apple or a pear or a clementine, these are all counting as a serving. So for every meal, every snack, try to have at least 1 fruit or vegetable. Once again, fresh is great, but if you don't have that, canned goods are great as well. You can have canned peaches, canned pears, canned peas and corn. These are all veggies that are available. Frozen fruits and vegetables. If you want to make a smoothie or add some berries to your oatmeal or your yogurt, frozen berries are an easy staple to have around all the time. You can throw a handful of frozen spinach or broccoli or cauliflower into your pasta water, and it'll cook right along with everything else, and then you've got veggies built into your meal there. So fruits and veggies, keep on top of it. That's my number 1 pick.
Okay, and number 2, what are the foods that I should avoid? And also say hi to Julie.
Hi, Julie. Foods that you should avoid. Well, I'm going to say there are no foods off limit here. So if you want ice cream, have ice cream. If you want potato chips, have potato chips. In life and right now. So I am not one who says never eat certain things or some foods are bad. I think all foods have a place if you want them to have a place in your diet. The question becomes portion size. So if you want ice cream, for example, or you have a sweet tooth and you want to make cookies, great. Just don't eat, a whole pint of ice cream in one sitting or 2 dozen of cookies. Have 1 cookie, have a couple cookies, have, a cup of ice cream or a half a cup of ice cream. Don't sit and eat the entire container. And, you can also have multiple things happening. So if you do have some chips, you want some potato chips, have the potato chips with some hummus or something that has a little more nutrient boost along with it. So maybe you have some potato chips and you also have an apple. All of these things can kind of work in tangent together.
All right, here we go. Next one. How do I get abs during the quarantine?
Oh, so we all are kind of cooped up here, maybe going a little stir crazy. So if you can get outside and go for a walk, or a run or do something to get some fresh air as far as exercise, that's definitely a step in the right direction. In your home, you can do all sorts of strength training exercises and also cardio stuff to help with those abs, and so you don't feel like you're a total sloth. So you can do sit-ups, you can do push-ups, you can do all sorts of plank exercises. Online, there's a lot of free things streaming now too. So you can get on-demand strength classes, core classes, other workouts that use your body weight for free. So do a little quick search. There's also yoga is really great right now, and it's a full body exercise that you can often, get a lot of good core work in there. Also Pilates. And then the food side of things, we still want to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, a lot of beans and whole grains and lean protein. We want to kind of stick as well as we can with making sure that we are eating a lot of healthy and nutritious food, because that will also keep us from feeling bloated and maybe having other issues and really packing on a lot of unwanted weight while we're all kind of in this holding period. All right.
Abbie, what's your favorite quarantine snack now? That comes to us from Julie.
Let's see. My favorite quarantine snack right now is actually air popped popcorn. So you can't see it, but I have a big glass jar of different colored kernels of popcorn, and I have an old school air popper. You can also pop popcorn in the stove if you have a pot and a little bit of olive oil. Just throw it in there and turn it on medium heat. Make sure there's a cover on it, and it should pop nicely in there. I use the air popper, as I said. I also do put butter on my popcorn. So there's a ton in air pop popcorn. It's a whole grain, so you're getting a lot of fiber and minerals and vitamins and other great stuff in there. And then for my treat on top of that, I put some salt and a little bit of melted butter. You could add other things that you like to your popcorn. Some people like to put cayenne on there. You could put Parmesan cheese on there or nutritional yeast. I know some people who actually like to put chocolate chips in there, maybe some peanuts or pistachios as well, and you make your own kind of little trail mix. So, popcorn. Yay!
Abbie, what is this? It seems that you are no longer a CNC lady.
I have changed my website, everyone, so you can still find me if you look up culinary nutrition cuisine, but it will push you to my new website and my new logo, which is Chef Abbie Gellman. So there you can find all sorts of great recipes, my videos, tips and tricks, links to my book that was published in November. You can see all sorts of great stuff about me and find out all of your questions, the answers to your questions on a bunch of different culinary nutrition topics. I also have a bunch of posts if you're looking for breakfast ideas or snack ideas or gluten-free chicken ideas, all sorts of stuff you can find there. Plus I have a new webinar section if you're looking for a lot of information in one place about, for example, diabetes. If you have diabetes or you have clients who have diabetes, you can watch my webinar that I did with my colleague Julie Harrington. We did a webinar about heart disease and another one about diabetes, and we have a third one up about aging. So if you have questions about mental health and aging and food, and we're working to put up more and more as we go. So also feel free to send me what you'd like to see. If you want to see a webinar about a certain topic that resonates with you, I would love to put together a webinar for all of you. So, chefabbiegelman.com.
Okay, we have a question from Chrissy. Do you have any ideas for canned green beans besides green bean casserole? I'm not a fan of how mushy the canned ones are, but have some cans on hand I need to use up.
Got it. So canned vegetables and fruits, the things there, they don't have a crisp texture the way that like the fresh fruit or vegetable would have. So I'm sure most of us have had green bean casserole, and you kind of put everything in your dish with cheese and cream and butter and maybe some breadcrumbs and onions, and then you have kind of a big mush sometimes of all of these things. So other ways to use canned green beans. So I know you said you don't want them mushy, but sometimes I will throw them into pasta sauce or soup and puree the whole thing. So then it's a pureed sauce or soup but you're not having like a mushy texture related to a mushy green bean. You could also try them in the air fryer, or drain them and toss them with some olive oil, salt, and pepper, and throw them in a high oven, like 425 degrees, for about half an hour, and you'll probably be happy with those results. They'll get a little caramelized in either the air fryer or the oven, and they should get crispier or crunchier on the outside and get rid of some of that mushy texture that you're talking about. But by far, my number one use of a canned green bean is adding it to sauces and soups that I am going to puree to add nutrients and just the flavor of whatever that canned vegetable is.
Should I be afraid of eating meat right now?
Should you be afraid of eating meat right now? I'm not sure how to answer that, because no, you should definitely not be afraid of eating meat. I'm not sure if the question is about handling procedures, or from a grocery store, or from a meat processing plant, or just in general eating meat. But just like our regular diet, there's been a lot of misinformation out there about COVID-19 and foodborne illness and needing to wash and take care of things. It is not a foodborne illness. So as long as you're following proper protocol, washing your hands, and if you have certain things that are packaged, maybe switching them when you get home, washing them, or putting them into a different packaging. But meat and everything should be completely fine. And if you are eating meat and you're cooking it, most likely then that's going to kill anything bacteria-wise that would be on there as well. So no, please continue to eat meat and poultry and seafood and all sorts of lean animal protein if that's what you normally would do in your regular day-to-day life.
How is New York City for grocery shopping right now?
Ooh, that's also a good question. So what I have found, based on my neighborhood and talking to friends who live in other areas, is it really seems to depend on where you're living. So as far as grocery delivery and Fresh Direct and Amazon Fresh and all the things that people may have been doing before coronavirus, that's, at least for me, it's basically non-existent right now. The ability to even get a time slot for a delivery is, I think I got delivery once in the first week that we were quarantined, and then never again. So for me, I'm across the street from a grocery store, and I'm in a residential area that actually is not very busy. It seems like a lot of people may have either left the city, or I'm also in like a less densely populated area in New York City. So there haven't been lines to get into the grocery store, but I've never seen more than maybe a handful of people in there shopping at the same time as me. So they're still enforcing the 6 feet between social distancing rules, but for my grocery store in particular, I haven't had to wait in line to get in. Whereas I have friends who are in other neighborhoods who have completely different stories, where they're waiting 30 or 45 minutes, 6 feet apart, to get into the store. And then once they're in the store, there aren't a lot of people because they are enforcing the social distancing rules. But in order to actually get into the store, they're waiting, a really long amount of time to get in there. So we're all kind of getting as much as we can, and that we can have here and store at home, so that we don't have to go to the grocery stores as much. So I hauled 4 bags home the other day. I'm able to bring in my recycling reusable grocery bags, but I know that other stores are not allowing you to bring in your own reusable bags anymore, and so you have to use the bags that they're offering you as well. But we're making do. People are doing okay.
Abbie, where can we find you and your thoughts, like social media channels, stuff like that? What do you use?
So it's at Chef Abbie Gellman, and I am mostly on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So YouTube, I put up at least one new recipe video a week. I also have other videos how to do stuff, culinary Q&As, a lot of like what do you eat for breakfast and to stay lean and healthy, or on the go snack ideas. A lot of that's video only on YouTube. And then on Instagram and Facebook, it's recipes, it's videos, it's other culinary nutrition related things as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that also includes this live stream,
Yes.
which is currently live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So if you're just watching the Facebook one, head over to YouTube and check that one out too. And let us know if they look different. I am more partial to the YouTube one. I think it looks better. But let me know what you guys think. Okay,
Perfect.
Next question. Is it possible to eat right while only having takeout food? I'm scared to go get food.
That's a good question too. And yeah, I mean, just like the situation now that we're in, or on a regular, normal, when this isn't happening, as long as you choose wisely, you can definitely have takeout and delivery food make up the bulk of your whatever you eat every day. So you got to kind of think about what you're ordering. You're going to stay away from fried. You're going to stay away from things that would have heavy cream sauces, or a lot of a lot of like the words battered, fried, anything that you can imagine as like a drowning in sauce, especially if there's like a cream-based sauce. The thing that we also have to watch out for takeout and delivery is that the portion sizes are generally way bigger than we need. So if you're ordering pasta, for example, it might be like bigger than your head. So you don't need to eat all of that in one sitting. You could probably get 3 meals out of that. Make sure you're having vegetables as part of your meal. And again, look for grilled, roasted, like maybe sauteed, lightly sauteed. There might be heavy-handed with butter and oil and salt and all of these things when they're restaurant meals that if we were cooking at home, we wouldn't have as much of those things adding calories. So while it might be scary to go grocery shopping, maybe there's a smaller bodega or a smaller market that you can go to get at least some fresh fruits and vegetables. In New York right now, we still have farmers markets. So if you're able to get to a farmer's market, that's a really great way to also get fresh fruits and vegetables and have them kind of around. In New York, also some of the restaurants are delivering groceries. So you can order an actual menu item, but you can also order cheese and milk and fruit and vegetables and all of these other things. So if there's a chance for you to do that, that might be a good idea as well. Plus, again, depending on where you live, there might be farms that are actually delivering CSA style fruits and vegetables. So you can order maybe a box of seasonal vegetables and fruit, and then you can actually cook at home with whatever they've given you. I actually ordered fruit and vegetables from a local CSA like that. I'm supposed to get it next week, and I added in bread and milk and cheese to that order. And then as far as meat and poultry, in New York, a lot of the restaurant suppliers are now selling retail. So I got like 10 pounds of meat and poultry delivered to me last week, which was super helpful as well. So maybe look into some of those local resources.
Abbie, why is every hot 25-year-old guy able to stuff nothing but beer and burgers into their face and still have abs?
That's the beauty of being young. And eventually they will not be 25 and it will all catch up to them. I don't know. When I was 25, I was pretty much able to eat what I wanted to. It's all, metabolism and things, your body, just as we age, changes naturally. So things that we were able to do, even like sleep, you probably need a lot more sleep. If you're in your 40s or 50s or 60s right now, you need more sleep. You feel more tired if you went out partying or drank too much last night. And sometimes, maybe in your 20s, you were able to drink, 6 beers, and now you can have one. And the difference is crazy. The response that you have now versus then. It's just as we age, our bodies change, and it's important to treat them with respect and feed them and fuel them wisely and with nutrition and just being smart about all of those things. But I promise you that 25-year-old will have a very different outcome when they're in their 40s and 50s and so on.
Keto or carnivore?
Keto. Although I'm not a huge fan of either one. I'm not a big fan of any trendy diet in particular that is super quick weight loss that makes you get rid of whole entire food groups. And keto and carnivore both do that. Plus, they make you get rid of a whole macronutrient group. So there's protein, fat, and carbohydrates. And with both of those, you're essentially eating 0 carbohydrates. And carbohydrates are fruits and vegetables and whole grains and things that our body needs to get, to keep from getting things like cancer and heart disease, and to keep us fueled properly, and to help our entire bodies function and all the processes that means and everything that happens. We can't do that only with meat and poultry like in the carnivore diet. And keto, where you can have a small amount of vegetables, you can't really have any fruit, but where you can have a small amount of carbohydrates, it's still not enough. Like, we need at least 7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, and you cannot have that on either of those diets at all whatsoever. Do that. So only with, I'm not a huge fan.
Who do I trust about nutrition?
I trust people who have an educational background in nutrition. So it can be a little bit difficult to understand, but the word nutritionist is thrown around frequently in this country. And I even use it for myself. I call myself a culinary nutritionist. But I do that because that is more accessible to people and consumers. Like, you understand what a nutritionist is more easily than a dietitian. But in the United States, a registered dietitian is someone who has an educational background, could be a bachelor's degree, could be a master's degree, could be both, could be a PhD, but they have educational training and a background in nutrition, and they have worked in a hospital or done an internship that involves medical nutrition therapy and sat for an exam and went through all of the steps in order to learn about nutrition and become an expert on nutrition. So make sure that whoever you're following or watching or getting nutrition advice from is a credentialed expert. Anyone can call themselves a nutritionist, and there are a lot of people out there, especially in social media, who will say, I lost this much weight, or I did this diet and this is what it did for me, so now do what I do. And it can be dangerous, and they might not have any actual training or education in nutrition at all whatsoever. So just be smart.
Just be smart. I like that.
Just be smart. Look at the credentials.
Here's a question. This is just coming from me. What are the questions we should be asking about food?
All right. Well, if that's from you, give me a little more info.
Well, there's
do you want to know?
There's an endless amount of people who will tell you their 2 cents about nutrition, but I think if we get smarter with our questions, we might be able to weed some folks out quicker, and that's kind of what I mean. So what are the concepts that we're supposed to be asking you guys about?
Well, I mean, part of that depends on who you are and what you're curious about. So if you are you, so if you're of a certain age, you don't have any current health risks, for example, and you just want to eat healthier and feel better, and fuel your body and your mind and exercise and all of these things, just like a no health risk, no disease state, um, then you should be asking questions about, what, fruits and vegetables. Is there some that are better than others? Why or not why? What happens if I cook them? What happens if I eat them raw? Is there a difference? Is every food category fine to eat? There's a lot of questions about, should I be dairy free? Should I be gluten free? Should I take on this diet trend which completely cuts out, whole grains and dairy and beans and legumes? The questions should be more around, like, what are the food groups and what is in them that I should be eating and why? Like, just kind of some basics, like Nutrition 101 basics, and learning simple cooking skills so that you can, kind of take care of your own needs. If you have a health issue like diabetes or cancer or heart disease or anything that involves medical nutrition therapy, then the questions would be different. So if you are a diabetic patient, then you should be asking questions about, like, what are carbohydrates? What does that mean to me? Can I eat them? Why or why not? Which ones are better than others? Because there's a lot of misinformation out there about that. So, really trying to educate yourself on how to combat the disease through food. Same with cancer, same with renal disease, heart disease, all of these things, questions about maybe a specific food group or how to approach eating in a way that is preventative and also can help whatever situation you're dealing with.
And finally, how do you become an RD?
How do you become a registered dietitian? So you, depends on if you're trying to do bachelor's or master's, but my path was, I had a bachelor's degree in something else, and so for me to become a dietitian, I had to first go back and take what they call DPD, or dietetic specific classes. So it's anatomy and physiology, chemistry, organic chemistry, statistics, a very specific set of primarily science and bio related classes. And so then once you have those, then if you're in a master's program, then you take a bunch of other courses. If you're in an undergrad program, all of that kind of wraps in with those science courses that I was describing. And then once you earn your degree, you apply for an internship. It's a dietetic internship. So it's at least 1,200 hours, where you are working through different parameters. So it's community service, hospital work, food service, a whole range of things. There are a lot of internships that are tied to colleges and universities. I did my internship in the New York Presbyterian Hospital System, so I worked for a full year, full-time, for free, in all of the hospitals in the New York City Presbyterian Hospital System. And it was kind of like medical professionals go through when they're in their residency. So I spent 6 weeks with pediatrics. I spent 4 weeks with GI, 4 weeks with cardiac, and kind of went through all of the rotations, plus a bunch of other things. And then you have to study and sit for an exam. And then once you pass that exam, then you have earned your registered dietitian degree. And then every year you have to certify and take a certain amount of educational credits to retain your certification and continue to be able to use that registered dietitian after your name. So it's a pretty long process. There's a lot of work involved, but for me it was completely worthwhile, and it's what I love to do. So don't let the amount of time it could take deter you if that's what you really want to do.
Okay.
All right.
Well, Abbie, I think that was a great live Q&A. We're going to do more of these, especially during the quarantine. So anybody who has questions, we're chatting with you. We're doing this for you. So tell your friends if anybody is trying to learn some lessons or wants to ask some direct questions. Abbie is here to do it. But we're going to say goodbye for today. So say goodbye, Abbie.
Bye. And let me know if there's anything you want me to cook also, because I'm going to do live cooking as well. So we can ask questions, answer questions, do cooking, whatever you want, we're here for you. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Don't forget to head to the new website.
Yes, chefabbiegelman.com. Yay.